spelled wrong. I just noticed that where it says Cathy Sikorski at gmail.com. It's not Skorski, it's Sikorski.
Oh, let me edit this. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Purse Strings Takeover Day 4.
Yes, welcome. This has been so fun. And Cathy, like we said, almost exhausting. The energy is so high when we get on, and so many great, excellent topics. This one, we were so excited to have you, Cathy, jump in.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, this is a sweet spot, I think, in terms of the age range, 50 plus and fabulous. And I'm sure you're going to speak to so many things that we're going to hit the mark here with this group. And they're going to love you. I just know it.
I do have that problem. People do love me.
Yeah, I know. You just get rave reviews everywhere you go. So I love it. Yeah.
So we just want to welcome everyone coming on. Say hello. Share where you're located.
Yeah, we want to know where people are coming from. I know this group is getting members more and more every day.
That's a really good point, and this is so exciting, but I want people to know, and I'll say this again and again, but it's just so, it's kind of sad for attorneys because we are really kind of limited to where we practice, right? The kinds of things, a couple things that I'm going to talk about are in fact state specific, and I talk about that, but I just want you to know, guys, that just because somebody is state specific where they are, it doesn't mean that there's not a lot of general knowledge out here that you can use and take home and take to your professional in your state and say, hey, somebody told me this. Is that true for us? Don't be afraid of that. I just want you to know that.
Great point. Great point. And Kim's on. Kim's the...
Yeah. Hi, Kim. I'm watching you every day on your website. You're doing such a great job. People are coming in. Yeah.
It's so great that she started this group and so many women are jumping on, and it's just been fabulous. And, you know, it's women helping women and sharing their expertise, and that's what Purse Strings is about. How about if I kick it off with an intro, Max?
Yeah, let's just wait maybe another minute just so we can get a couple more people
are coming on. Okay, that sounds good. Yeah. There she is, Kim.
There's Kim.
Well, and the other thing, Cathy, we found is even for people, as you well know, if you can't make it at this time when we're live, we do record it and put it up in their units section of, there's Dina.
Hi, Dina.
Of the website. So people have been really taking a look and really looking for these different topics. So it's been really great.
I'll be honest with you, I did it myself. I was so happy because I had to jump in and out on one of them. And I was so glad that I knew I could, you know, see the rest of it later.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. The wonders of technology, right?
I love it.
I know, it's so useful.
And then I hate it.
I know, exactly. When it's not working, like a car, right? You love your car until the minute it doesn't work, and then you're like, I hate it. And then you hate it. Yeah. So Maggie's watching the ticker.
That's what I do. That's my job. Do you want to kick us off, Dr. Barb?
Sure, I sure will. Welcome, everyone, in the 50 plus and fabulous group. We're so glad that Kim invited Purse Strings to do a takeover week for her group, and we've been providing lots of different great financial professionals. And the purpose for Purse Strings, the reason I founded it, and Maggie, my daughter's helping as my partner, is because we saw where there was a real disconnect between the knowledge and skill women needed to make good financial decisions for themselves, especially as financial they need to come to the table and be part of the conversation. So many women going through either divorce or death of a spouse, or as we were just talking about, the grain divorce, which is a whole new topic. So Purse Strings wanted to make sure that all women have access to free online tools and resources that they can use and arm themselves to go have conversations with financial professionals. So we don't sell any products or services. We're here just to get the word out to women that if you have a question or you need some financial professional, we're your one-stop shop. So we also provide vetted financial professionals, all things money. We're looking for those top of the tier attorneys, financial professionals, women like Cathy, who's an attorney in very specialized field in elder care. She'll be talking to us today. But also financial professionals, money coaches that can help women, and they have women's concerns front and center. So hi, Molly. So my daughter Maggie's going to be running the show here, and Maggie, why don't you introduce Cathy?
Yeah, so Cathy Sikorski is a consulting and practicing attorney for over 30 years and limits her practice to elder law issues. She has been a significant caregiver for 8 different family members and friends. Yeah. That's enough in itself, but I'll continue. This combination of legal and practical experience in aging and caregiving has made Cathy a sought-out speaker on these important issues. With more than 30 years of law behind her, she provides critical legal information for our aging population and those who serve them. Cathy has written a humorous memoir, Showering with Nana, Confessions of a Serial Killer, Serial Killer Caregiver, as well as Who Moved My Teeth, preparing for self, loved ones, and caregiving. Cathy has done many keynotes and was recently a keynote speaker at the National Caregiver Conference in Chicago and Philadelphia, as recently as pre-COVID. No.
Wow.
So I want to hand it over to Cathy to get started.
Hello, everyone. I am just so enamored of this relationship of Barb and Maggie because I think that life comes full circle, and I want to tell you about that. My daughter, who is 32, has moved in with me. Her husband has come, and they brought their 2-year-old, and they're living here for a little while. One was 2 years old. My grandmother, who is 92 years old, moved in with us. And the 2-year-old and the 92-year-old became the best of friends. And I have to be honest with you, sometimes my worst enemy. I mean, to be fair, they would do things like, while I wasn't paying attention, grab a little morning snack out of the dog dish. Or when I was at the laundry, my Nana would decide that she was going to clean the bathroom and find every toxic substance in the house that she could get her hands on and have the 2-year-old help her with that. And so one day in a cold February day, much like today, I lost my grandmother. Oh, she didn't die. I actually lost her in the local mall. See, what happened was I decided they were making me so crazy that I would take them to the mall and make them so tired that they would, in fact, take a long winter's nap that Rip Van Winkle would be jealous of. And I took them there, and honestly, it worked. And on top of that, besides walking them around, I gave them one of those great little tryptophan McDonald's lunches with chicken fingers and French fries, and they were getting really tired. So I quick bundled them up to bring them home. And as I'm going out of the mall, I pass the Hallmark store, and I'm like, ugh, I need a sympathy card, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to escape again from my house anytime soon in the dead of winter. So I put my Nana on the bench in front of the Hallmark store, and I say, Nana, do not move. We're leaving right after this. I just need a card. And she can barely talk. She's just shaking her head. I'm feeling just a little bit tired and guilty. And so I grab that stroller, run into the Hallmark store. And do you know where they keep sympathy cards in a Hallmark store? Yeah, in the back, as far back as you can go. I grab the first card I can get my hands on, slap it down, slap $5 down. Pretty sure that'll cover it. I don't even know if it's sympathy for your dead pet, but I got to get out there. I get out to the hall. No, Nana, she's gone. So I go to a security guard and I say, look, can you help me? I think I've lost my grandmother. And she asked me for a description. So I say, well, aha, she's wearing a gold and orange and burnt umber coat. She's 92 years old. She wears glasses and her name is Margaret. And that guard looks at me and says, anything else, ma'am? And just as I'm about to say, seriously, you don't think you can find her with that description? My 2-year-old down at my left leg in a stroller goes, poop, poop, mommy. And this is BC, my friends, before cell phones. And so I say, look, I'm going to take my daughter to the ladies' room and change her. Meet you back at the office. I'm sure you'll find my grandmother. How far could she go? I get to the office. No, Nana. Their suggestion to me is that I go home and call the police. I'm not going home. I'm never leaving this mall. My mother is going to kill me. I've lost her mother. And I think, who would want a 92-year-old? And then it occurs to me, and I grab that stroller and I run through the mall to the parking lot. And as I get to the edge of the lot, I see standing next to my car in the February sun a glint of gold and orange and burnt umber. You know how you breathe that sigh of relief because you are so excited that this terrible thing that you were sure is going to happen wasn't going to happen. And so the words of gratitude that come out of your mouth and waft across the parking lot for your whole town to hear are, "Where in the hell have you been?" And as I get to my Nana, she says, "You said we were leaving." So I went to the car. And I thought in that minute I might lose my mind. But what I learned, my friends, is that I was really terribly unprepared for caregiving. And so eventually I honed my law practice to be completely about elder law because, yes, you heard right. I have been a caregiver for 8 different family members and friends over the last 30 years. Like at the train, the caregiving train comes to my house and everybody gets off. I didn't know because that's not my job. That's just what I do. But here's the thing. We all need the tools. And some of these tools are very basic and you may have heard of them, but you might not know exactly why. And I'm going to tell you some reasons that I think you may not know or understand why you should get these tools if you don't have them and why you should make sure your tools are new and shiny if you need them. So where do we keep our tools? For women, we keep all our tools in our purse, don't we? It's so funny to me that this is purse strings because this is one of my favorite presentations and it's about my purse because every nursing home I've been in, every assisted living place I've gone, if a woman is 75 or 85 or 95, she is never without her purse because this is where we keep our most important things. So let's talk about what's in our toolbox and what I want you to pay attention to and what you need. So the first thing in our toolbox is a hammer. No toolbox is without a hammer, right? It's the most important tool. You've never seen a toolbox. We've never seen a toolbox with a sparkly red hammer because my niece made me this one. But you've never seen a toolbox without a hammer. And that's because this tool is so critical to everything you do. And for me, the hammer is a power of attorney. And there's 2 kinds of powers of attorney. We're going to talk about both of them briefly, but let's even give you the 30-second definition of a power of attorney. A power of attorney is a document that you sign giving the authority to someone who now becomes your agent, and they act as if they are you in every capacity. Wow. That is a dramatically powerful tool because if it's a financial power of attorney, they can do everything you can do financially. They can use your money to buy a car. They can sell your house. They can sell your car. They can use your credit card. They can get into your checking account, your savings account, your investments accounts. It's a really powerful tool. And so you have to choose wisely. Most people choose their spouses for the first one, for the first power of attorney, but you've also got to choose an alternate. And here's the reason why. If you and your spouse get into a car and you have a terrible car accident, and let's say my husband and I are in a car, we have a terrible accident, he dies, I'm in the hospital, I can't take care of everything. He was my power of attorney, he was my agent. What are my kids going to do? Who's going to help me? There's no power of attorney. You've got to have an alternate. Again, choose wisely, but you've got to have one. So if you don't have a power of attorney, and quite frankly, there isn't anyone listening to this today or anyone in any other room in your house who might not be listening, but is over 18 years old who shouldn't have a power of attorney, because powers of attorney are for helping you out when you are incapacitated, whether it be temporary or permanent. Nobody knows if they're going to get incapacitated. Have we not learned that in the last year? And it could be temporary. But if it is, who's going to take care of your affairs? You have to have this document. And preferably, you have it with an alternate. Now, the other power of attorney, the first one is financial, and you'll hear the words durable financial power of attorney. What does that mean? Well, it's come to be accepted that durable is probably what it is. But as I mentioned in the beginning of this chit chat before we started, and I want to say that again, I might say it a couple times, I'm licensed in the state of Pennsylvania. Every state has different rules about powers of attorney. So you've got to contact an attorney in your state about how your powers of attorney work. But generally, the truth of the matter is you've got to have a financial power of attorney, which is durable because that means it endures if you get sick, which is weird because that's the whole point of a power of attorney, but that's what it means. And so if your state requires that, make sure that it's durable. And you should have a healthcare power of attorney, which sometimes is called a healthcare proxy. And a healthcare power of attorney is the same deal. You give the power to someone, your agent or your surrogate, sometimes they use that word, to act as if they are you in every capacity to make healthcare decisions for you. Now, here's the thing. They don't have to be the same person. If you're single and you have a daughter who is a doctor and you have a son who's a financial advisor, you might want your daughter to be your healthcare power and your son to be your financial. Okay? Doesn't matter who it is, and it does not have to be the same person. I actually have some clients who have not chosen their spouse to be their financial power of attorney because they said, my spouse won't be able to make healthcare decisions. He will be just a mess. I've got to pick my daughter and my son as my alternate. The alternate, don't forget that, really important. So this document is super, super critical. And I'm going to spend a little more time on this because here's the other part about powers of attorney, and especially in a financial position. We have changed the way we save money. You're thinking, Cathy, why does that matter? What are you talking about? We save money now in 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, and things that look like that, savings mechanisms that look like that. And those things can only be owned by one person and one person only. You can never have a joint 401k or a joint IRA or a joint 403b. And that's fine. I have no problem with that. And the reason that these have become super saving mechanisms for us is it kind of in corporate America became a way to take away the defined benefit pension and turn it into a savings account where you as an employee became a little bit responsible. So you were putting money in, but many companies also match that money. And if your spouse is someone who has been with a company for a long time, over time, many companies add more and more and more. So it makes sense to make that the place that you save money, right? But it's only owned by one person and you can't change that. So you might have a joint checking account, a joint savings account, joint investment accounts. That's great. If anything happens to your spouse, all that stuff is joint. It's yours. You can get your hands on it. But if the bulk of your money and if the money that you use is in a spouse's IRA or 401k or 403b, you better have a power of attorney because that's the only way you can get to it is with the hammer. So why does that matter? Okay, so let's say your husband has worked for a great big huge company and he has $1 million 401k. And you have taken time out of the workforce to be a caregiver for his mom, for his dad, for your mom, for all of your kids. And so you've gone in and out of the workforce, but you don't have nearly the retirement savings that your husband has. And you guys have a great marriage and you're now retired or you're thinking about it and you're using this money to travel and maybe think about buying an RV or a shore house. That's all great. And then your husband at 65 years old has a massive stroke and he's in a nursing home and it looks like he's not coming home for a long time, if ever. And you need that money. That money is used to pay your mortgage, buy you a new car, take care of whoever you take care of. If you don't have the hammer, the investment company isn't going to let you get your hands on that money. And it gets even more complicated than that. I live in Pennsylvania. We have super strict rules about powers of attorney and what they can and cannot do. Some states are a little more generous, and some states even have thought about this scenario that I'm talking about, where a husband or a wife has all the retirement funds, and so they make provisions for that. But in Pennsylvania And pretty much in every state, at least minimally, you have to say that I'm giving my power, my agent, the right to gift money. And every time you take money out of that as a spouse, it doesn't matter that you're married. That's considered a gift to you. So unless you're using it to pay his nursing home bill, if you're using it for yourself or even to pay your mortgage, that's a gift. And so you better have the power to gift. And you better have the power to gift unlimitedly. Because if you have no gifting power, if it literally says no gifting power, you're up the creek. If it says limited gifting, that means you can use $15,000 a year as a gift to anybody you want and no more. Okay, $15,000 a year, I don't know about you, but that wouldn't pay for much. Unlimited gifting means you have full access. So, extremely powerful tool, right? You need to know about it and you need to have it. And everyone you know who's a grown-up needs to have it. When my kids went to college, I made them sign a power of attorney. So, because I didn't want anyone telling me that they weren't going to tell me their financial information or their healthcare information because they were far away. So you got to have it. Okay. What's the next tool in our toolbox? The Crescent Wrench. I love this. I think I like to play with it because I don't really use tools very much. This is adjustable, right? You can make it do and say what you want it to do. Why do I like that? Well, in my world, this tool is what's often called an advanced directive or sometimes a living will. And boy, has that blown up. Every hospital you go to, every time you go to a healthcare worker, do you have a living will? Do you have your living will? What is a living will? Okay, guys, it's pretty simply this. A living will is a document that you sign that says, what do I want done if I'm in a permanent vegetative state? That's really important. It's not a healthcare power of attorney where you're saying, if I'm in the hospital and I need someone to make decisions, or they're doing surgery and they come out and say, whoa, wait a minute, we found something else. Who's that person? That's the healthcare power of attorney. A living will is only that person who is basically a pull the plug or not pull the plug person. That's what that document is. And you may have seen these. They're kind of abundant on the internet where you sort of check boxes like, I do want palliative care. I don't want chemotherapy. I do want a feeding tube. I don't want a feeding tube. I don't want anything except to be kept comfortable. That's the beauty of this tool. But this tool is more important than it looks. It's adjustable because you can say what you do and you don't want, and you can change it at all times. But here's the beauty of this tool. My beautiful, fantastic, wonderful mom is 92 years old. She has 8 children. If my mom goes into the hospital and she gets into a permanent vegetative state, her 8 children and their 8 spouses and their 56 grandchildren and everybody else under the sun is going to come out of the woodwork with an opinion about what we should do. And that healthcare power of attorney who's over here and trying to make healthcare decisions is going to be desperate to be left alone or to make a decision under stress. This document, this living will says, you can pull it out and say, I didn't decide this. Mom decided this. And we're going to do what mom wants to do. Right? That's why I love this tool. Not so much for what it does, really. I mean, you're sort of making a decision. It's a permanent vegetative state, so it's a small healthcare area, but it takes the decider off the hook, especially when people come out of the woodwork who never helped you, who didn't want to be involved in caregiving, who didn't have any other opinion or didn't want to take mom to the doctor. All of a sudden, they have an idea, and you're like, your ideas don't count. Only mom's ideas count. Now, what happens if you don't have a power of attorney? That could be a problem, right? I mean, it's like fixing something with duct tape. Yeah. It's pretty, it's pink duct tape, but duct tape, you know how that is. It's like, I'll use it. I might have to have it, but I don't really want it and it doesn't fix the problem. This is a guardianship, which truthfully, you only want to go to the duct tape if you don't have to. If you don't have a power of attorney and someone becomes incompetent, and it pretty much looks like they're going to stay incompetent. So they have Alzheimer's, they have dementia of another kind. They've had a massive stroke. They're not coming back. You have to get a guardianship, which means you have to go to court. You probably have to get a doctor to testify somehow, maybe just by paper, but a report. But still, it's expensive. You need to get an attorney. And then, as a guardian, and you will be a guardian of the person and a guardian of the estate, which means you're in charge of them medically and you're in charge of their money. But as a guardian, and in my state, this is how it works, you have to file a report every year for every penny you've spent and every medical decision you've done and made. And that's even if you're a spouse. Now imagine that your 82-year-old mom is taking care of your 85-year-old dad. They have no paperwork. He's all of a sudden stroked out. She absolutely insists that she be the guardian, and she's got to be doing that paperwork. That's crazy. We don't want duct tape. It's great to have it if we need it, but we don't want it. And the other thing about guardianship is, you guys, there's no alternate. If your 82-year-old mom insists on being the guardian and then she dies, guess what? You got to go through that process all over again. Let's not do that. Let's have an alternate. Let's have a power of attorney, and let's keep it up to date. Okay? Okay. Another tool in our toolbox. Oh, I really like this one. This is my secret tool. I keep this at the bottom of my purse because this means secret forms for me. So, a screwdriver is something you use to screw something into, say, the wall, like a picture or something important. Maybe put a table to the floor. It's because you don't want it to move until you're ready to make a change or to make it move. Now, as I said, I've been a caregiver for 8 different family members and friends. Some of those people have been on Medicare. And let me just quickly say, Medicare is your health insurance. Medicaid is what you use to help pay for long-term care, a nursing home, when you run out of money. I wish they had completely different names, but they don't. So Medicare as a health insurance, sometimes you need to talk to them because you have problems. Good luck. The other place that you might need to talk to someone is the Veterans Administration. My mother has veterans insurance. She's on CHAMP VA. She was on TRICARE for a while. Now she's on CHAMP VA. And that's another place that you often need to talk to them if you're having some kind of a problem, right? Your power of attorney should work. You should be able to send it to them and say, I have this authority and I should be able to talk to you about it. Good luck. It should work. But this is like using this screwdriver, quite frankly, is like having a belt and suspenders. You have the power of attorney, it's appropriate, but you really, really should just use their form and make your life easy. So I'm going to tell you what the super secret form is, and I'm hoping that maybe Maggie can even put this in the chat box. But don't worry, we'll get the information to you. So the first one is from the Veterans Administration, and this is called Authorization to Disclose Personal Information to a Third Party. But the only thing you need to know is that it's VA Form 21-0845. That's VA Form 21-0845. Woo-woo, the secret form. You fill this out. Oh, look how cool that is. You fill this out. You send it into the VA. They even tell you where to send it. Make sure you send it to the right place. You fill it out online, you print it out, you send it to the VA. If your person that you're taking care of, you're already using a power of attorney because they can't sign things, they are, they have dementia or whatever, attach a copy of your power of attorney to it. But I'm telling you, once they have this form, every time I call there now, I tell them my name, I tell them where I'm from, who I'm calling for, my mom, and instantly they'll talk to me and tell me everything. I literally filed my power of attorney with them 3 times and they never got it. They couldn't find it, whatever, it didn't matter. My mom could sign this form. My mom until COVID at 92 went to the gym and church every single day. So my mom could sign her own form. She lives in her own house down the street from me and drives her own car. Yeah, good genes, you guys. Okay, so this form will make your VA life so easy. So just do it. Just use it. And you can put on there that this form never ends until I say it ends. So once you sign it, it's there forever. And miracle of miracles, Medicare has the same form. It's called, this is what it looks like. It's called 1-800-Medicare Authorization to Disclose Personal Health Information. Also, here's the number. This is what you look up online. CMS-10106. Form CMS-10106. Miracle form. Same thing. Look it up online. Fill it out. It has a PDF fill out as well. You can fill it out online if you want to. Print it out. It tells you where to mail it to at the end. And you can use this form forever. There's actually a box that says, any information, I want all information to go to me. And it's information about, I think there's a box here without me going through the whole thing. Yes, disclose it for indefinitely. Disclose my personal information indefinitely. Beautiful thing. Most people don't know about these forms, but they will make your life easier if you're a caregiver and if you're helping someone. So I love, love, love that form. Okay. I want to talk about, not finally, there's so much I could talk to you guys for hours. I want to talk about your will, because I know a lot of us in this age group made wills when our kids were in, I remember talking about my 2-year-olds, when our kids were little and we needed a guardian and we wanted to have someone take care of them because we certainly didn't want a court to decide. And so we picked our, sister and brother-in-law. We picked someone to take care of their money, and we worked really hard and had these big conversations with our spouse about who's going to take care of the kids. And so we did all of that. We made a great will, had a trust in it for them. Everything is fine. And then we took that beautiful piece of paper and we folded it up and we put it in the drawer next to our sexy lingerie because, we were 30. And there we left it with the sexy lingerie. And although hope springs eternal, and I don't care about your lingerie, and maybe that's too much information, but I'd like you to push it aside, pull out that will, and give it a look. Because now I want you, yes, I'm going to do this, to make the granny panties of wills. Yep, I'm hiding behind the granny panties. I want you to get something fresh and new that covers everything, that does what you want it to do now in a beautiful way, because you cannot have a will from 30 years ago. And if you are taking care of parents, you need to ask them the same thing. You got your granny panties of will? Do you have something that is new and takes care of things? Because look, you guys, not just wills. Powers of attorney, life insurance, all of this stuff. Life changes. Things change. You may be a widow or a widower now. That may mean that you have your husband or your wife on documents and they've already passed away. And if you have contingent beneficiaries, that's fine. But quite frankly, why wouldn't you change it and fix it? Your daughter may have gotten married to a guy who turned out to be not so great, and they're divorced, and you put them on your life insurance together, or you put them as a beneficiary on your IRA together. You got to look at things. Things change. And I would say, as a rule of thumb, every 5 years. So if you haven't looked at anything for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, or you have insurance from when you started your job as a teacher at 21 and you're still there, or in a corporation and you've been there 30 years, holy cannolis. Did you get divorced and remarried and put your first spouse still on your life insurance? Pay attention. You've got to look at these things and see what they are, see what they are and what do they do. So really, really critical to look at to create your important documents, to look at your important documents, and to make sure that they stay up to date, because people change. You change. Maybe you don't want to do what you wanted to do 20 years ago. So I do have one more tool in my toolbox, but before I get to that, I'd like to maybe take a little break here and see if we have any questions, if anything's going on in terms of questions or comments. Hi, Maggie.
Hey there. We do have a lot of people loving your granny panty analogy. I think it's great.
You know what? And they'll remember that. They'll think, oh my gosh, I'm in my underwear drawer. Did I fix my will?
We do have a couple questions here. Let's see here. Would being the power of attorney allow me to manage paying bills, including healthcare providers coming to the home, even while a person I am the power of attorney for has a spouse living within the same home? Would the spouse be able to override the decisions of the power of attorney?
So, Kim, that's an absolutely great question. The answer is yes, it does give you that power. Here's the thing about powers of attorney. Even when you're not disabled, if it's set up in a way that allows, so I have my mom's power of attorney. She's not disabled. I'm her agent, right? But she gives me her checkbook. I can go write checks and pay her bills for her without any hesitation. You have that power, absolutely. When you say a spouse overrides your decision, that's just kind of a tricky life skill, to be honest with you, because you both have power in that situation. But if what you're doing is, like, say it's a checking account that your mom has and only her name is on it, his name isn't on it, he can't really do anything about that. But it's going to be a family problem, isn't it? I told people, I did a webinar yesterday, and I said, look, here's the thing. When lawyers ask you questions that are extremely personal, like, do you have any kids on drugs and are you giving them a power of attorney? Because that doesn't seem to make sense. Do you have a kid who's really bad with money? Do you have a problem with your spouse? It's not because we are salacious and love Peyton Place stories. That's not it. It's because when we do this legal stuff, this planning, we need to know who we're talking about that you're putting in charge to do this stuff. So to answer your question, Kim, yes, you absolutely have the power. Yes, you can do that. You're navigating a social problem that, I can't tell you how to fix, but I have some ideas, especially if it's a healthcare provider or healthcare situation. It may be that they only want to deal with you, the caregivers, and you can say, look, they're only going to talk to me. They don't want to deal with you because it's too hard or you have too much to do or you're too tired or, whatever. There's diplomatic ways to deal with this stuff, but the power is the power. So, okay. So, Kim, I hope that answers your question. I had an idea and I don't want to forget it. Go ahead. Anything else?
Yes, we have one more question for you from Kim as well.
Okay.
What if both parents have been diagnosed with dementia and one is worse than the other, and the children would like to get in-home care, but the one who is more cognizant is refusing and will not allow anyone to become the power of attorney? What are possible steps to be taken as a workaround?
So here's the big problem, right? Let's not wait until making powers of attorney is too late. Like I told you, my 18-year-old kids, I made them do it because I didn't know if anything would happen to them. Again, everyone in this room and everyone in your house who's an adult and everyone down the street should have a power of attorney yesterday. So Maggie, when we're done here, you go get a power of attorney because you're young.
Yes, ma'am.
You think you don't need it, but you do. But here's the question, Kim. It's kind of a double question that you asked me. Number one is, what if the more cognizant person won't let you in or won't let you do things, that you can do? If you have a power of attorney, you still can do stuff. You can just do stuff. If you don't have a power of attorney and you don't have it for the quote cognizant person, but you have it for the non-cognizant person, sometimes there's consequences to our actions, right? If this person is not allowing you to help them and they have dementia, you have a couple of choices. One is, and you might have to have a down and dirty conversation with them, but the other is sometimes you need to take them to a professional. I don't know if any of you have experienced this, but having been a caregiver for so many people, sometimes what the doctor said was more important than what I said. So if the doctor told my mother-in-law, you need to eat a healthier diet, and here's the paper with it on, and I have been saying it for 6 months, it didn't matter if I said it. It came from a professional. So think about the possibility of having a professional, and people in my work often come to your home. We will do that because we know that people dig their heels in at this age and have a problem. So if you can find an attorney who will do a house call, maybe that would help you. Okay. Or if you have somebody else in the family who has influence with this person who is giving you a hard time, maybe you want to go that way. Sometimes it's a grandchild, a grown grandchild who has more influence than a child. So, but the bottom line is if you have power, you have power. You do. If you don't have power, yeah, duct tape, right? As a way to fix it. It's ugly, but that's what's done. And I'm sure you guys, especially in our age group, have read stories about guardianships that have gone sour. I don't like them, but if you need them, you need them. And you may have to go that route, especially if this person is in fact suffering from dementia and making another person, their partner, suffer because of that. So that's my answer.
All great advice. I'm going to let you, I think we're good on the questions right now, and I'll let you keep going.
I have another section I want to talk about. Before I wind up, so to speak, I want to talk about powers of attorney versus wills. This is really important because it's the hammer. Yes, goodness. It's the hammer versus the underwear, right? One is for power. One is for what you can do with it. The other is for inevitability, right? It's inevitable. You're going to need this underwear. You're going to need the granny panties. They're coming in your life. So you might as well embrace them and do what's right. The other one is what you need to bring down the decisions. This is the thing you need to know, though. Powers of attorney die with you. Here's my poem. POA, because you're going to see POA means power of attorney. POA alive today. Once you pass away, only an executor can play. POA alive today. Once you pass away, only an executor can play. So if somebody says to me, I'm the executor for my mom, I can take care of all of her affairs. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Has your mom passed away? Oh, no. My mom's fine. She's just old. No. You're an executor. You can't do anything for your mom until she's dead. That's what an executor does. They take care of things in a will after you're dead. A power of attorney takes care of things while you're alive and incapable of doing so. So if you're a power of attorney on your mom's bank account and she dies, your authority dies with her that day. You cannot get into that account one more minute. It's done. Everything you've done as a power of attorney dies with her. Okay? That has good things and bad things. I did a whole webinar yesterday on the difference between a joint tenant, a joint account, and a power of attorney account, and they both have ups and downs. But you need to know powers of attorney die with you, and wills are activated when you die. So an executor has a lot of authority after you're gone. And so people say, well, I'm the beneficiary of my mom's IRA or my husband's IRA. I'm the beneficiary. So if he goes into a nursing home, I can get all his money out of his IRA. Beneficiary means someone died. You only get that if he died. If he's sick in a nursing home and he's not coming out forever, you can't get into that account. You can't get into that IRA or that 401k without a power of attorney. Ouch. For a lot of people listening to this, and a lot of women that you know, especially baby boomers and Gen Xers who have stepped out of the workforce to be caregivers for their children, to be caregivers for their elderly parents, to be caregivers for disabled brothers or sisters or whatever. They have depleted their income and their retirement resources to the point of they will be destitute if that's all they have to live on. If their husband has all the money in an IRA or 401k and all of that is used for his care in a nursing home because you don't do any kind of planning for that, when that money is gone and all you have is your social security check, which is seriously less, even if it's half of your husband's, or even your husband's, after we learned this yesterday. It was so great in the social security thing. But even if that's all you have, he was showing, he said, this statistic stuck with me yesterday. He said 4% of people plan for this. So the social security conversation, super important in planning. The power of attorney conversation, the will conversation, the living will conversation, super important in planning. Don't be afraid of planning. If you can Marie Kondo your closet, you can make 1 or 2 visits to an attorney and get this stuff done. And finally, and this is, well, no, not finally, because I have one more thing in my purse, in my toolbox. But I do want to say, if you have an accountant, if you have a lawyer, or you don't have one, if you have an accountant but no lawyer, you need to get one. If you have someone who does your life insurance, if you have someone who does long-term care insurance for you, if you have an insurance and a financial advisor, if you have those kind of people in your life, they should be talking to each other. This should not be a separate conversation, because your attorney needs to know if your accountant is thinking all of your husband's money is okay, but you don't have any access because you're just the spouse with no money. You've got to have your professionals talking to each other. And with the beauty of Zoom and what we're doing now, there is no reason you can't have a call like this where you can say, I want to talk about my plan. I want to talk about what's going to happen if one of us gets sick. I want to talk about what's going to happen if one of us dies. That's what I want to know. And women have to step up. It is time for us to step up and take care of our affairs. And single, widowed, divorced, or married, it doesn't matter. If you are keeping yourself in the dark and you're not talking about these things with your professional team, you should get one and you should do it, because the money you lose isn't worth it. Okay, final thing in my toolbox, something you need to do. You need to have a sense of humor. Yeah, don't be chicken. It's fun to laugh at everything that goes on in life. And if you're a caregiver, whoop it up, because this is your only chance. Don't be chicken. Just take hold of what you need to do and then have some fun. That's my presentation for you guys today.
I'm still laughing. That's amazing. Oh my gosh, Cathy, you have just approached such an important topic with such a great sense of humor, but gosh, where do people get this information if it weren't for you?
Well, you know what? It's funny because much like purse strings, and aren't you dying that my purse thing is like a purse thing? It's so
perfect. Yeah.
I know. But much like you, Dr. Barb and Maggie, I embrace the mission. I really pivoted my career. I don't take many personal clients anymore. You know, friends and family won't leave you alone. If you're a caregiver for 8 people, imagine how much legal work I do with a family like you, Barb. With a family, I have 8 siblings, right? So you know. But I decided that this has to get out there. This has to be a place where we can give information. And so, sure, I like to get paid for it. That would be nice. I've written a couple of books. I'm writing another one right now. But it's so critical, and I see so much destitution. And I know our Social Security guy told us about that yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, that people are becoming destitute as females, as married women who had a great lifestyle, because they don't talk about this and they don't prepare and they don't plan. So, yeah, we're few, but we're good.
Yeah, it's so important. And like, you're right. And I often say, you know, I started purse strings like I just had it when I saw so many women, you know, working in their retirement ages. And yes, like Bo said yesterday, you know, you don't make a good decision around Social Security, it could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. And like you were mentioning today, if women don't know about any money decisions their partner have made and they think they have access to the money and then they don't.
Especially because they're spouses. People think that by virtue of being a spouse, they have access, you know, and with my mom and my grandmother, that used to be true. My grandmother would go to the bank and say, I need $20 out of Mike's bank account, and they would give it to her. And her name wasn't on that bank account. My grandmother actually bought a house without telling my grandfather with his money. Because she got tired of living in a you know, a hovel. So she went and bought a house in 1928. Right?
Yeah.
$8,000. Yeah. And actually, it's the house I grew up in, because what I didn't tell you guys is I lived with my grandmother. My dad died when I was 4 years old, and my mother, with 5 children and pregnant, moved in with my grandmother, and we grew up with her.
Wow.
The circle continues.
It does. We need to stop the madness.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
actually, I love having my granddaughter here. I'm sure you would too.
Of course. However, the point is that we want women to know what their options are understand them, and work with professionals who they can say, tell me that one more time. I just don't understand what you're talking about. And it's going to say, okay, let's start again from one more time.
And I want everyone to know that my email is nicely going across the bottom here. Oh, yeah. And you are welcome to email me anytime and ask me a question. I will answer anything I can. I will tell you. And if I don't know the answer, I'll try and find it out. And if I'm not in your state, obviously everyone here isn't in Pennsylvania, I will try to find someone in your state who I know does this if you really desperately need, an elder lawyer. But whether you do or not, everyone should at least go see one once, especially to get your documents. This is my book, but you can contact me. If you have an organization that you want a speaker for, yeah, that would be great. But don't hesitate to email me if you have questions. I'm happy to answer them.
Yes, and on that same note, as women, we don't work for free. You are an attorney, and we want to make sure that other women, if they're in organizations or if they're in women's groups or whatever, and they hear you today and they say, we need a speaker, they should hire you and pay for your wealth of information and how much money your information is going to save them in the long run. So, we have to get paid for what we're worth as well. So many women are giving too much away, and we're lucky that you are providing your information for us today to share with the 50 Plus and Fabulous group. But let's, ladies, let's have women help women and spread the good word around all the information that Cathy brings to the table and how we can share her wisdom with other groups as well.
Yeah, let's not be afraid to pay each other. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's just do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're worth it.
Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah.
Cathy, I wanted to bring up also the point that you made about having all your professionals working together and staying in contact with each other. And a lot of times at Purse Strings, a lot of people think they only need their financial advisor, just the one professional. And we've really been hounding in that we're making your financial team. It's a team that really helps you out. It's not just one professional that you need or just this one guy one time. It's a team and they're all on your side to really help you, which I think is a very important thing that you brought up. It's not weird to have your two professionals talk to each other to ask that request.
And life is complicated, right? The decisions that you're going to make and maybe change over time are complex. And quite frankly, the law is not on your side. It's complicated on purpose. Financial laws are complicated. I'm sure you know about just inheriting now IRAs is super complicated because the Secure Act came in. Did you have somebody talk about that? Super complicated. And I don't know everything. I'm learning myself, which is why I've been coming to these as well. I mean, we're learning all the time, but it's complicated. Yeah. And we as professionals, financial advisors, people who are trying to get the information out, legal advisors, et cetera, we need to know, and quite frankly, women are better at this than men. I'm sorry, but we are. We need to know we're not in competition. We're here to help each other as a team. And there's no reason that we can't do that. And in fact, if we all raise it up to help our clients get the best possible outcome, all that's going to do is have everyone else say, you got to go see my team.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, because when you work with women, do you know that they give over their lifetime of a relationship with you 27 more referrals than a man would?
I totally believe that. We just did it before we started here today, remember?
Yeah. Always. Yeah. So this has been great. And I'm sure that when people, if they couldn't make it today, they'll rewatch it. And we're going to, Maggie, you can tell them about the next steps with the step-by-step document.
Yep. So we are going to make a step-by-step download. So it's going to have key takeaways from today, as well as some next steps to take. And then Cathy's information at the bottom. You can also grab her book on Amazon as well. And so we'll have that out by tomorrow. And then this recording will also be in the unit section of this Facebook group. So any of your friends, girlfriends can come back and watch this later. We'd also love if you guys would join the Purse Strings for Financially Fearless Women. That's our Facebook group where we continually hand out more financial education, because after this week ends, we won't have much financial information here, but it will be in our group. And as you can tell, there's a lot more to learn.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Cathy, for being here today.
Thanks for having me. Yes. Join Purse Strings, you guys. Join.
We're excited
Something
for your new
working.
book to come out, so you have to let
Thank
us know so we can
Yeah.
get that advertised as well.
I will indeed.
So,
Yeah.
are you taking care of anyone right now? Oh, yeah, your grandchild.
Well, my 92-year-old mom lives down the street, but honestly, sometimes she takes care of me.
Nice.
You taught her well.
Right. And I have a 2-year-old living with me. I'm not quite sure. I might be Nana in this situation, like my grandmother was.
I love it. I
Love
love
it.
it.
Thank you so much, ladies. This was a great day. You've been doing a great week. To Kim, your website is fabulous, your Facebook page, and you guys are doing a great job as well. I'm so happy to be a part of it. Thank you.
Yeah, we love sharing the purse strings mission of making sure women are financially fearless. So thank you for being a
Always in
part
the
of it.
purse, ladies. It's all in the purse.
All the purse, yeah.
And then tomorrow we will be talking about money for retirement with Linda Lingo. So that will be our last presentation for the week. We hope to see you all there. Thank you again, Cathy. We'll grab her book on Amazon, Who Moved My Teeth? And we'll see you guys again tomorrow.
Have a great
Thank
day,
you.
everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Cathy.